In April, the University of Northern Colorado told us it was in the midst of a budget crisis so bad the school may have to lay off tenured faculty and cut programs. Now, the university also raised tuition to help offset about $11 million in state funding not available next year.
So why spend nearly $10,000 sending two professors to two conferences? Well, that's the subject of a troubleshooter team investigation. Fox 31's Kirsten Chapman is in the newsroom with the details. Kirsten.
Well, Phil, for the last 3 years, Dr. Kay Persicchiti and Dr. Donna Ferguson have been working on a research project funded partially by the federal government in the form of a grant and partially by the university. Using funds from that project, they recently attended two conferences back to back, the first in Honolulu and then Seattle. Based on our investigation of the two who were traveling with husbands, it appears their participation was limited. Last night, we told you they spent taxpayer money vacationing in Hawaii 4 days prior to that conference. Because of our investigation, they're now having to foot the bill for food and lodging those days. But even on day one of the conference, we saw them doing a lot more shopping than conferencing. And day two, it appears they didn't attend at all. Now they're off to Seattle, where they're authorized to spend nearly $3,000 more.
Well, that was a fact-finding trip when we originally booked it.
And they go on to tell me that attending the Seattle conference was actually the suggestion of the federal government. Apparently, an email was sent out telling educators there would be an announcement about grant funding at the conference.
According to that email that came out from the U.S. Department of Ed, we thought we'd better go and be there. Well, so we booked.
And so did the Fox 31 troubleshooter team. Over we booked a private investigator, considering the two plan to spend $2,768 government dollars. Dr. Kay Persicchiti and Dr. Donna Ferguson and husband flew from Honolulu to Seattle, arriving Monday morning, June 30th. The three take a shuttle to the Red Lion Hotel.
We checked into the hotel and walked 2 blocks to the conference center.
And spent the rest of the day there?
Yeah,
Most of the rest of the day.
But according to our private investigator's notes, most of the rest of the day amounted to about 45 minutes. They arrived at the conference at about 11:40, and they left the conference at 12:30, returning to the hotel for the rest of the day. Tuesday and Wednesday.
We went early. We headed out. Well, I think we did not get up until a little later on Tuesday, so didn't get to the conference until almost 10 o'clock.
I hadn't slept all night.
Actually, it was 11 o'clock when they left their hotel on Thursday, July 1st. And despite saying they stayed at the conference for the majority of the afternoon,
I think until mid to late afternoon.
Pretty much the rest of the day.
our surveillance reveals they head to lunch after about an hour and 15 minutes. Donna Ferguson and her husband head back to the hotel just after 1 o'clock. According to our private investigator, Kay was lost in the crowd, but is seen returning to the hotel at 2:48 with a shopping bag of unknown origin. We saw you go back to the hotel.
And I worked.
And you were working then?
The entire time.
And then we saw you coming back with several shopping bags. Did you go shopping?
No. I went back to the conference center and did email.
Wednesday, July 2nd, Kay and Donna and husband left the hotel at 10:30. And this time, they don't go directly to the conference. They go to the public market center. They do a little shopping, a little sightseeing, watching the famous flying fish. Spend a considerable amount of time at the fish market.
We did go to the fish market. Absolutely, we did.
Our private investigator lost the trio at 12:45, entering more shops. The conference is over for the week in just 3 hours, and we've seen 0 conference attendance today. And total, we've seen just a couple hours. Remember the original justification for this trip?
According to that email that came out from the U.S. Department of Ed, we thought we'd better go.
Well, I too received one. However, mine says the department did not send out an email instructing those interested in grant opportunities to go to NECC. Dr. Persicchiti now denies ever making the statement. In conclusion, based on their travel authorization forms, the two were approved $9,628 in funding for these 2 trips. What'd we get out of it? How much time would you say total you all spent working in the last 2 weeks?
Well, we went, oh, shoot, I have no clue.
Now, as with their Hawaii trip, the university is now requiring the professors pay for 2 of the 3 days in Seattle themselves. After the adjustment to the original travel forms, trip cost is $6,868 instead of the $9,628, a difference of almost $3,000.
So, Kirsten, aside from making them pay back some money, any chance these professors will be formally disciplined?
Actually, no, Phil, because Dr. Persicheti resigned her position prior to taking the trip because she's accepted a job at the University of Wyoming. Dr. Ferguson's employment with the university will end in August because that's when the research project loses its funding.
All right, Kirsten Chapman in the newsroom. So, what's the University of Northern Colorado saying?
Our interim provost just this week has been working on some policy changes, and this made us realize that perhaps it's important to spell out a little more specifically exactly what we expect from faculty while they are traveling.
Among other things, anyone traveling will now be required to turn in a report detailing what they did with their time and what they learned. Tomorrow night, more on how the university is handling the situation, as well as reaction from Congresswoman Marilyn Musgrave and the head of the Commission of Higher Education, Tim Fox.